Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Monetary Board, Deputy Governors and staff. We had to take 30 minutes to discuss internally issues pertaining to the central bank and its communication on matters to Parliament. I'm not going to go into that, but I'll just mention here what the issue really is. But before we do that, could you kindly introduce yourselves for the record?
Appointed member, Monetary Policy Board.
Good afternoon. Anushka Vijayasinghe, appointed member of the Governing Board and Monetary Policy Board.
Nandalal Veerasinghe, Governor, Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
Nihal Fonseca, appointed member, Governing Board and Monetary Policy Board.
Vish Govindasamy, appointed member, Governing Board and the Monetary Board.
KGP Sirikumara, Deputy Governor, Secretary.
Sorry?
Sirikumara, Deputy Governor,
Oh,
Secretary.
the new Deputy Governor?
Yes.
Congratulations on the new appointment.
Thank you.
Chandrinath Amarasekara, Deputy Governor.
Congratulations to you too.
Nelumani Dawalagala, Senior Deputy Governor.
Maitri Vikramasinghe, appointed member, Governing Board and Monetary Policy Board.
Congratulations to you and welcome to the Committee on Public Finance for the first time.
Thank you.
Dilrukshini Vatudura, Assistant Governor.
Dimuthu Samarathunga, Assistant Governor and Secretary to the Governing Board and the Monetary Policy Board.
Chanuri Jayasinghe, Director, Department of Supervision of Non-Bank Financial Institutions.
Subhani Kirtiratna, Director, Financial Intelligence Unit.
I'm Rukshana Jayathilaka, Director of Bank Supervision.
Vipula Vikramarachi, Additional Director of Economic Research.
Pavitri Vittanage, Acting Director Legal.
Lasitha Patperi, Additional Director, Economic Research Department.
Lasanthi Sirimana, Chief Accountant.
Sudat Prasanna, Director Foreign Exchange.
Prabhat, Director, Human Resources.
Yasantha Veerasinghe, Superintendent of Public Debt and Superintendent of Currency.
Hemantha Ekanayaka, Director Communications.
Erandi Liyanage, Additional Secretary and Secretary to the Governor.
Okay. So, Governor, the issue is a practical one. And that is when members ask questions in the House that deals with monetary policy. For instance, inflation or exchange rates or, the inflation target. Generally, we do not get answers in the House because there is no representation of the central bank sitting in the chamber. Now the question is, how do we address that?
That's a good question, Honorable Chairman. I think what we say usually when the question was asked in the Parliament by a member, that goes directly to the Minister of Finance. And they share that question with us. Sometimes the answers are needed. So tomorrow we get the question, day before tomorrow, like today. So we somehow managed to provide those answers and send it to the Minister of Finance. They are the authority to provide that answers to the whoever the member of the minister or deputy minister. Usually they respond to that. That's a mechanism I can ensure all the questions those are coming to the central bank through the Minister of Finance. We send answers within the deadline. But we have noticed in the process those have not been on time, and the requirement has not been answered because they take some more time or whatever. Because sometimes questions are not only related to central bank. Questions are related to central bank, Minister of Finance, some other agencies. I think process, as I understand, Minister of Finance collect questions, answers from all the other agencies and compile and they submit to the minister in charge of the subject, and then they respond. I think we don't mind if there's a situation, if we are invited, we can come here and sit at the this chamber and provide answers if necessary. But I think for us to provide instant answers, I think it's too difficult for any officer to immediately respond without knowing the question in advance. I think we would appreciate we know the question in advance, can give a proper right answer through the process.
Chairman, that's the very reason that I wrote this letter, where the sense of independence for certain structure is given to them, that doesn't devolve or divorce the activity of the representation in Parliament through section 148, 149. So that's indispensable. So the very aspect of independence is on certain performing acts, but that doesn't exclude the operation, because central bank comes under the purview of the finance minister. And even the Gazette at this particular moment has that in play. So my question was as to why the Secretary Finance is not here at this meeting is one of the biggest problems that is there. Because as the Governor quite rightly said, any question that is asked is routed through the Finance Ministry. So if the Finance Ministry Secretary, who is the Chief Accounting Officer, which happens to cover the central bank, is not present here, there is no thread between what we are asking and them. It's not for central bank to decide how much long you need to answer. If a member of parliament, whether government or opposition, asks a question, if the Minister of Finance can answer fiscal policies within 24 hours, central bank can answer that in 6 hours. We are very automated. So it's not the question of when and how, it is if. And not to, the question requires is to get the public domain, not for central bank to come and get it answered here. So let's get those clear at this point.
Okay, so we are not going to go into this discussion. We've had an internal discussion and we've decided on a particular course of action. I just want to mention that this is a recurring question and that we'll need to ensure that whatever questions that are asked from the central bank are answered in a timely manner in the chamber. So we'll discuss this further amongst ourselves and invite you again perhaps for another discussion on this.
So, Honourable Chairman, with your permission, can I make one comment here?
Yes.
Even, so this is nothing to do with the central bank independence or new act. Historically, all past 75 years, this is the way central bank has been providing answers to the parliament. There's no difference in the past or now, nothing to do with the independence or act. There's a clear process for us to provide answers to the parliament.
Okay.
So if that has been the question, Governor, what is the special privilege of independence that you have got at the moment? If it has been the past practice in the past, what is the new thing that you have inherited?
I think I can explain the act, which is
No, we understand that, but I want to know what is
clearly specify the implementation of monetary policy. Independently, Secretary Treasury is now sitting at the governing board or monetary policy board, and there's a prohibition of monetary financing. There's other important aspect, and also there's some stronger accountability to the parliament that we did not have earlier. Independence and accountability has basically both have come together in the new act that we did not have in the past.
Independence is there, accountability exists.
Accountability exists.
That's the issue that is on. Independence, yes, you cannot be questioned, you cannot be dictated on what to do. But certainly can be questioned as for the accountability aspect, because the act very clearly, especially the overarching act being the constitution, that says that the accountability doesn't spread away from the sense of independence you want. That's the difference between independence and accountability.
Accountability is even within that, it has been clearly specified. That's why we are here to answer to the parliament.
Yeah.
That's accountability.
Yeah, but the accountability does not mean an independent authority is answering here on 6 hours of a year. That's all that you'll come and answer.
No, at any point.
No, let's not dwell too much. What I want to do is,
let me
we want to see as to how we have got to get
Parliament has authority to summon us at any point.
Yeah.
That's given in the act.
Yeah. So that is important that you mention that, Governor. I'm going to read 82 subsection A. The Governor of the Central Bank, the members of the Governing Board and the Monetary Policy Board, and every deputy governor of the central bank shall, at the request of Parliament, be here. So we would insist that people just don't show up, that practice has to stop. Right, if they are going overseas, they should know when the monetary board meetings, the parliamentary meetings are. Because like the honorable member said, we meet only 4 hours of the year. Certainly those members who have been appointed to the board can, allocate 4 hours of the year to meet this committee in parliament. So I'm insisting that unless the person is indisposed, that they are present at these 6 monthly meetings. Thank you. Because you see the issue, right? All right. So then the business of the day, we have 3 matters that we need to get through. One is the inflation target for quarter 4 2024 and quarter 1 2025, and again the inflation target quarter 1 and 2 of 2025. We'll do both of those together. And then of course under section 82 of the central bank, the 6 monthly report that you will present to us. So unless you want to collapse everything into one, you can do that. Otherwise, you can do it separately. But I would think you can collapse everything together. That might be easier.
More practical, no?
Yes, Honorable Chairman, we have prepared the presentation.
Yeah.
Taking into consideration your request covering all these areas, and I invite Director Economic Research, Dr. Sujita Jagajivan, to make the presentation, and then we can open for discussion. Thank you.
Good afternoon, honorable members. So we have prepared a presentation to cover the inflation breach report as well as the functions of the central bank. So this has been designed as per section 80, subsection 2. The governor and the members of the governing board and monetary policy board and every deputy governor of the central bank shall, at the request of the parliament, be heard by the parliament or any of its committee once in 4 months. And to meet that requirement, we are meeting today. So we have prepared the presentation to cover the central bank operations and functions under the objectives of the central bank, starting with the primary objective of achieving and maintaining domestic price stability. Let me start with the discussion on the recent inflation development. The headline inflation has returned to positive territory in August 2025 after recording a deflation from September 2024 until July 2025. And currently it is on the upward trend, moving towards the targeted level.
Doctor, next time at least for the chair, if we can get a color printout. It's difficult to read this.
Okay, we'll do that. So the reasons have been, the reason for deflation has been mainly because of larger deflationary conditions in the energy and transport category, and we have seen with the recent revision to electricity price revisions, as well as some easing, some slight adjustment to other fuel components as well. We have seen that deflationary conditions on the energy and transport category has slowed down to closing to a positive level in the upcoming months, and also some increase in food inflation also contributed to this positive inflation. As of the latest data, inflation stands at 2.1% as per the Colombo Consumer Price Index based inflation. As
Is
per
it 2.1 or 3.2 the last 3 days
this
ago?
is Colombo Consumer Price 2.1.
Yeah, is it 3.1 or 2.4?
2.1.
That was September.
September.
Yeah, I'm talking October. No?
Sorry,
Without-
October 2.1.
You mean you must be referring to the National Consumer Price Index. What is the NCPI?
NCPI is
That was also 2.1 in
yeah.
September.
September. October is 3.4 now.
October will be
Came out
released.
day for yesterday.
No, that so CCPI based inflation was 2.1 in October.
Maybe, okay.
And the same figure for NCPI in September.
As per section 26 of the Central Bank Act, there was an agreement signed with the government to set the inflation target, and a margin was also set to measure whether there is an inflation target miss. And as per this, if you are missing the target, we are supposed to submit a report to the Parliament reasoning out the failure to meet the target, remedial actions proposed to be taken by the Central Bank, and estimated time period within which the target will be achieved. In line with this, we have so far submitted several reports. The first target miss happened during 2024 Q2 and Q3, 2 consecutive quarters. The actual inflation quarterly average was not within 3 to 7 band. So we started submitting that report, and so far we have submitted 4 reports, and the recent report being for Q1 and Q2 2025, which was submitted presented to the Parliament on the 24th of October. And as per the currently available information, we have the quarterly average for third quarter of 2025, that is 0.8%. So there will be a new report outlining the reasoning behind this target miss. As per the currently available information and the fan chart that was produced during the last monetary policy cycle in September, we expect that inflation will continue to accelerate in the coming months, and it will reach the targeted band, the margin as per this monetary policy framework agreement during the first half of next year. And for this, the current monetary policy, continuing current monetary policy easing, the recovery in economic activities, and energy price normalization will help to support this expected path in the coming period. When it comes to monetary policy stance, the Central Bank has been...
Just one moment. Is that all you have to say about the first 2 reports, or this is part of that?
This is for the first 2 reports.
Okay. Okay.
So, shall we question thereafter, or how do you
Yeah,
want
that
to-
is what, when you finish, you
We
come,
are the-
or you are going to collapse everything together.
So we have designed like price stability, then financial system stability. As a
So,
part of the price stability, I have covered the breach report as well.
Yeah, so once you finish the price stability section, we want to
Okay.
ask questions.
Okay.
Okay.
So the Central Bank has been adapting monetary policy, easing monetary policy stance from mid of 2023, and thus far the policy interest rates have been reduced by 800 basis points, so 8 percentage points. And the latest revision has been a 25 basis points reduction in May this year. And we are showing that monetary policy easing has been translated or transmitted to market interest rates as well. On the right hand panel, we are showing the key benchmark market interest rates to show the reduction in 2023, 2024 and 2025 thus far, and the total reduction during these periods, as well as the latest rates for the benchmark interest rates. For example, from 2024 up to now, there has been a reduction of 150 basis points in the policy interest rate. For that reduction, we have seen the prime lending rate, average prime lending rate on a monthly basis has come down by 424 basis points, and it currently stays around 8.15%. And the overall new lending rate has been adjusted by 411 basis points, and the current rate is at 10.27. And a larger adjustment in government securities yields, 91-day yields adjusted by almost 700 basis points, and one-year rate adjusted by 489 basis points, and the current rates are at 7.52 and 8.04%. And we also see that we are compiling a rate for applicable for SMEs as well. The new SME rates also have come down to 10.77%. So we see a broad-based reduction in overall market interest rates in line with the eased monetary conditions. We see this monetary easing and the pickup in economic activities is reflected in the expansion in private sector credit. A notable credit pickup has happened in the recent months, but there has been a composition change in the domestic credit. Domestic credit consists of three components. One is the credit to the private sector, credit to the government, and credit to the state-owned enterprises. And in the recent times, we have seen a notable pickup in the private sector credit, which is in line with the economic recovery that we are observing. And with the improved fiscal performance, we see net credit to the government has slowed down. And last 2 months, we have seen a negative a contraction to net credit to the government from the banking system. And also with the improvement in the financial performance of the most of the key state-owned enterprises, we see contraction most of the time for the SOE credit as well. And we have preliminary data for September as well. So during first 9 months, we see the credit to the private sector has expanded by around 1.37 trillion, and which is continuing in the recent months. And so recently we have commenced collecting data on a monthly basis on the sectoral distribution of credit. It started in April, so we are closely monitoring the monthly distribution of credit to important sectors. And based on the currently available information, we can show that the credit expansion has been broad-based. Credit is going to agriculture sector, industry, services, as well as the personal credit. And if you see the overall composition as of September, 9% of the credit has gone to agriculture sector, 39% for services, industry sector, 30% for services sector, and 22% for personal credit. So it's a broad-based.
Repeat those figures, please. Can you repeat those figures?
You want, okay.
Agriculture, but you can't.
Agriculture, 9% contribution. The overall share is 9%. Industry is 39%. Services sector 30%. And personal credit 22%.
This is only for banks or banks?
This is mainly for banks.
Once you put, if you have 10 trillion credit outstanding, or the previous one that you mentioned, that is only
that
for
is
banks?
banks mainly,
Only
yeah.
banks.
Banks. We have M4 as well, but the contribution is relatively smaller, and the finance companies' concentration is on few products like leasing.
But then does this offer a comprehensive picture of the marginal allocation of credit? This is a monthly thing, right?
Yes.
Now, what is the total credit available to the private sector? About 10 trillion? 9 trillion?
Yeah.
9 trillion?
Yeah, 9.5.
9.5 trillion, okay.
Yeah.
So of that, how much is?
That as a percentage?
Yeah, banks as a percentage of
Credit
that
based on
9 trillion?
So it's around more than 80% is banks. So what I am showing is the expansion. Expansion was 1.37, but the outstanding is 9.
That I understand.
Yeah.
So you are looking at a monthly change in the credit only in the banks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the banks. We have.
Do you have a comprehensive one of banks and finance companies together?
We have, but we don't have the sectoral breakdown for that M4 category, the finance companies and specialized banks.
But
The contribution is small.
It's reported that out of the 1.37 that you mentioned, that 1.16 trillion is on vehicle loans, and that is on leasing and pawning.
No.
Well, here it is, quoting yours. the Central Bank of Sri Lanka announced at the end of the 6 months, the 1.161 was on vehicle loan surge.
That is contradictory to what you have.
Yeah. Quoting Central Bank.
Can somebody take a look at this? Yeah, go ahead.
That and more alarming is the pawning has gone up to 1.1 trillion.
Let's get some clarification on that, because
Yeah,
really
that credit creation means nothing if it's going on to this.
You want to, phone, do you have the phone? Bank, outstanding. And let me discuss about the external sector developments also. The external current account has been recording a surplus for the first 8 months. However, with the trade balance widening, there was a deficit recorded in the external current account in September. Of this,
Sorry,
with this,
Chairman,
the
I need to interject. Can we tell me what is the credit creation of the, earlier the ratio in the private sector was about 22%. What is it at this moment?
28.6%.
28.6%.
First half.
that is year on year.
Percentage of GDP.
No.
Growth is 22%.
22%.
2%.
Yeah, that is year on year.
Year on year, 22% growth. Yeah.
What was it, say, 6 months ago?
13%, 12%.
It was growing at a faster rate in the recent times.
Yeah, so that 12% to 22% grew in what sectors?
Let us lay the question, maybe some of your colleagues, doctor, can figure this out.
Because it is required to know, if the growth is in what section, if it's the vehicles, release, bonding, and the credit creation, then it's with the unhealthy situation. That's why it's a very pertinent area that requires your answer.
So the question is, shall I sort of place the question, because this looks very, very rosy. This looks as if everybody is getting equal treatment. But some numbers that we have been seeing or is being discussed doesn't suggest that. I also have read, like what he just mentioned, that a lot of the credit went to purchasing of vehicles and pawning and things like that, which would mean personal loans. And also, if you can add non-bank financial companies also into whatever you all are preparing now, we probably can have a much more nuanced discussion.
Chairman, let's get the answer, because we see them.
Yeah, so let them work on it until she finishes this first section.
Yeah, but these are pertinent to get these answers. You got a color one or what is it?
Yeah, I just got
This
one.
is for LCBs.
I just asked for it.
Oh.
I didn't get one.
තව එකක් ගන්න බැරිද? ඔබ මේකට මේ වෙනස් කළ දෙන්නේ.
Somebody just gave it to me from the back. I didn't get one either.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean the central bank has enough money to print some color for printouts, no?
So you want to go for some breakdown of credit? Or
Yes, that is what is required.
the overall credit, say for example, if you see a major change has come from construction has been expanding.
What's the percentage?
So its share is 2.2% of the overall credit.
That is the expansion, 2.2% of, what is it?
2.2% growth, and it's
No, what the question, doctor, is now there has been a 1.6 trillion expansion, no?
almost 1.4 trillion.
Sorry,
expansion.
1.4
Yeah.
trillion expansion
Yes.
during the first 9 months.
Yes.
The question here is, A, what sectors did that go to? And B, does it include, or you said it doesn't include, non-bank financial institutions. Once you include that also, what is the breakdown?
Including non-bank, we don't have the sectoral breakdown.
I think let's clarify this. Non-bank one is a very small percentage if you take total credit. I think we can, because banking sector classification, there's a detailed breakdown of construction, agriculture, not only those three categories, there are detailed breakdown that we can share. This is coming from what we call quarterly credit survey. Quarterly basis, banks are providing much more details credit distribution. For that we have data here. That's why I don't want to explain that part. Then when you come to finance companies, there are only three categories: pawning, motor vehicle leasing, and also some other gold-like that loans. That's a different classification that we can share that also. That's a small component compared to the broad, whatever 1.4 trillion. That's maybe 10% of the 1.4 trillion from the increase by the non-bank finance companies. So I think it's useful for you to understand, for us to show the breakdown of sectoral breakdown of at least, I don't think we had data for first 9 months, at least for first 6 months, we have the breakdown of detailed sectoral wise that we can share, I think.
So if
why don't you show that? I mean, there is published already.
No, I'm sorry, the question was not that. The 12% growth to 22% represents what sectors? That's what we want. We don't want anything else. That's the question. We'd like to get a break.
If that slide can be shown on screen, that is there on a monthly basis. I mean, like Governor said, we see the sectoral contribution of credit to each. I mean, so essentially to each sector.
Dr. Chandranath, is a mic on?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you look at this, honourable member, what is shown in red on a monthly basis is the increase in personal loans and advances and so on, and going back up to April. We have the same classification from the beginning of the year as well.
So, do you mind getting a cumulative of this 12 to 22? Just tell us, you must be having information. But we can't see it from here.
Okay.
I don't want it read. I've said
can I tell
give the break from 12 to 22.
Okay. So for the overall credit, including licensed specialized banks, licensed finance companies, and commercial banks, overall outstanding is 12.85 trillion. Of that, 9.5 trillion is commercial banks. 2.1 billion is 2.1 trillion is from finance companies, and 1.2 trillion is from licensed specialized banks. And we are showing the breakdown of sectoral components for that 9.5. Out of 12.8, we are showing the breakdown for 9.5. And on a monthly basis, we don't collect this from specialized banks or finance companies, but non-bank finance.
Yeah, so now still 12 to 22, what is the sector that has grown up?
Yeah.
Is it in the areas of construction, agriculture, trading? That's what we want to know.
So this is the growth. For example, if you are talking about September expansion has been on a monthly basis. Expansion has. So this is the September expansion has been 27 billion has gone to agriculture, 73 billion has gone to industry, 71 billion has gone to services, 60 billion has gone to personnel.
I think honourable member is asking for the cumulative figure for the full year quarterly survey results for the 3 quarters.
Yeah, I mean, what you are giving on this rightmost stack is the share of the existing 9.5.
Yeah.
What the honourable member is asking
exact number
is not that. What he is asking is what the stack is for this amount.
So can we give this after the presentation?
Yeah.
So we have put it in a quarterly format. We don't have the cumulative in the table readily available.
I think from that question itself, if you really look at the September, from August to September, the personal loans and advancements are moving from 40 to 60 million, right? And if you take entire industry as a whole, remains the same.
Industry had gone down from 91 to 73 from the previous month.
You know, industries and agriculture, industries and
right.
services together, commercial activities has been very constant from July. So what's been growing is the personal loans from 20 to 40 to 60. So
That's
it's
right.
basically doubling every month.
That's right.
That's
That's
fear.
the question that
That's
I
the
think
indebtedness is what is increasing.
So is it going for these vehicles or what? Is there any further details on this 60 million personal? 60 trillion.
So we see pawning is expanding. 8.4% of the share is going to pawning. Then we have credit card, and also
What percentage?
credit card is 1.9%, and other consumer items 9.7%.
This is inside the personal.
Inside the
So
person.
this personal might also has housing loans as well, right? Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
housing doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Housing
there's-
doesn't work person.
Huh?
Housing doesn't
No,
work
there's
person.
no other category to put, so obviously it has to get captured under the
Services? Construction?
From the services, wholesale and retail is 10.6%. Then we have financial and business services 7%, tourism 3%, communication and IT 1.3%.
That's actually industry, so that's very clear. So the personal means either credit cards, pawning, or personal loans.
Housing, where is housing?
Personal housing is under industry.
Huh?
Industry 9.3%.
Construction industry. Is that-
Construction.
Construction
Yeah.
industry, that's what I thought.
So then
And
if you
of
leave
that,
that out, it's
is it,
credit cards.
is it
and-
categorized as long-term lending in capital expenditure area or not known?
This can include the short-term, medium-term and long-term loans.
Yeah, I think what would be useful is if you can just do a quick note on both the banks and non-banks, because you see the type of customer into a leasing company and a bank usually will differ, no?
Yeah.
And SMEs probably go to leasing companies and established firms will go to banks. So if you're looking at the margin where growth is coming from and the sustainability of that, I think it would be much more useful to all of us if you have a much more disaggregated presentation of this data. Would you know
so
that
just want to add here, Cha, now what
Know
we've
that-
observed in the industrial side also, banks are not lending to small holders, small SMEs, and banks are not giving long-term capital. So distribution of tenure and the size of the borrower is also important in analysis, because what we are seeing is the excess capital that is created through government not borrowing is only going for large players. So it needs analysis to see whether the banks are really concentrating their portfolio into where the real growth is required.
Yeah, but there's a specific lending, because Dr. adding on to what Minister mentioned, the SME you said 10.26 was the growth. Sorry, average lending rate.
10.77 is the weighted
How
average.
do you ascertain that?
So we are collecting data. It's a weighted average rate.
Yeah, so that weighted would be in the hands of a skewed in a 2, 3, 4, 5%.
Yeah,
No
so-
small medium guy gets at that rate.
So that weighted average might also include the government provided low cost loans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's better to get what these commercial banks are actually lending. They are lending 12 to 14. So that's, I don't know how it came down to 10 or 11.
If I may add on to this, because it's very specific, if you look at in 221, your total borrowing for pawning has been 500, roughly in the range of about 500 billion. It has gone up to 24 to 6 to 700 million, and 25 it is 1.3 trillion at the moment. And your poverty moves in line, as I meant, the first year is 9%, 24, 25%, and next 22, 25 is 32%. So there's a correlation between the more you borrow on the personal area goes into debt, surviving the debt crisis. So that's the reason why I asked you, when you create credit, is it in the favorable direction? I mean, if it's capital as long tenure as the minister said, then it's positively going. This is what we'll expect from an independent central bank.
Because early there was sector-related lending guided by central bank and was clearly guiding commercial banks where to lend, what to lend, and which industries we should lend. But now there is no such direction. Even we couldn't even fix the SME credit, SME debt crisis. The 5 billion loan that was given by the 5 billion that was allocated by the government, only 44 people got it with 5 million working capital. Banks are not at all
That's the
lending
5
to
billion you all allocated.
restructured organizations. So there needs to be some direction where these funds are going. And there's other thing is, I think this is a problem with government lending programs, that the lending, all the programs are open from 500,000 to 25 million. And when the banks are given the quota, they end the quota by lending it to few 25 millions. So basically no credit coming to the micros and the small guys. So we will have to see from the government side, now we can't direct the commercial banks at all. So I think there needs to be some level of guidance from central bank focusing the credit to the real growth sectors in the future.
So Chairman, Governor, previously there was specific lending portions now in your portfolio of the bank. You can instruct that you can give it to the youth, the women, the underprivileged, etc. Does that exist now?
No, I think what the Honourable Member Tasbangapal Singh and you also talking about, the schemes we had in the past, there were foreign funded and government funded schemes targeting youth, women, some of the sectors, loan schemes like what you have now 5 billion, they were allocated and administered by central bank. Now that function has now been transferred to Ministry of Finance. Development Finance Department is the one that now administer those kind of targeted credit schemes. We are no longer involved in that because under the new act we can't do that, because our monetary policy purpose is to not to target the directed credit even earlier, because there was a conflict, central bank directing credit to certain sectors and implementing monetary policy as a conflict. As a new act, that function has now been by the Minister of Finance. That's why I think
Governor, the total amount that is coming through the government is 15 billion.
Yeah.
So the SME credit requirement in the market is about 200 billion.
Even earlier, those schemes are provided, concession schemes are very limited. They have never a sufficient credit available for the concessional basis. We never had this kind of scheme. We had limited amounts. For example, we had Saubhagya scheme earlier. Then similar, some foreign funded schemes, when money is utilized, the scheme is over. Then only collection, revolving fund, they used to, again lend on that. But that money also now transferred to the Development Finance Department for them to roll it out under those schemes. So what you mentioned, any weaknesses in the implementation, I think there's a MOU signed with the participating institution, with the banks and Development Finance Corporation, how to administer the schemes. That part you can send, but still I recognize the fact that this is not enough. You can never have a sufficient credit. When you offer concessional rate, there is a huge demand. You can't meet that demand. That's why normal market mechanism through the bank system that will provide. But again, the distortion is that banks will provide credit. For example, SMEs, when they offer 12% or when they price the premium, sometimes they don't want to take that premium. So that's where other schemes like credit guarantees institution, or now recently secure transaction, the that mechanism was brought in to at least movable properties securitization, like those schemes will obviously flow credit into all these sectors.
So what
Those
you're
are
saying
the-
is specific lending now has to be routed through the budget of the ministry. If you want
Yeah,
to lend to
correct.
the youth, provide it in your budget and give it.
Exactly, yeah. That
So
is
it's
the
a
mechanism.
specific
I think that I
that
can
is not
agree.
sufficient. That's my view.
No, I think the real question is when we are monitoring the use of capital in the country, you have a greater view as central bank where this capital is moving to. At least if we can't start publishing, there's a pressure on the commercial banks, even the government, to see how do we adjust this. Now I think my request now is what has happened or we didn't had, that's okay. But going forward, if we can really break where these funds are moving to at scale, we can see where because now government is not borrowing. There's excess, the government has made a disciplinary, fiscal consolidation to ensure that the government doesn't borrow. So when
But
that
being fair, the governor says it's not controlling his, it's a bank's.
No, what
reason
I'm trying
to take it forward.
So it's central, because the entire capital flow, central bank monitors, government doesn't monitor at that level. But to see where the direction should be, if the central bank can't give a direction to commercial bank to say you need to lend this portion of the portfolio to SMEs, then at least to monitor and see.
Yeah, Honorable Member, we have information that meanwhile someone got the information.
Yeah.
Sectoral monthly basis, we collect that information. Why don't you share
Yes,
that?
Governor. Chairman, if I may.
Please.
So we had this sectoral credit breakdown until February this year. We collected data quarterly and disseminated quarterly basis sectors and subsectors. But from March onwards, we started collecting data monthly basis to have more broader view. And so what we presented here is a monthly sectoral credit data. So, but at the same time, from March onwards, the commercial banks, we asked them to consider more on the sectoral classification. So they have adjusted some loans in the previously reported numbers. So because of that, from March onwards, it's difficult to compare with previous numbers. But I have now, from March onwards, for 7 months, the expansion of credit in these commercial banks for subsectors. So if I just let you know, the total is, we just informed, it's around more than 1 trillion, 1.1 trillion expansion. And that expansion comes from main 3 sectors, and agriculture and fishing, it's around 100 billion expansion. And in all subsectors that we collect, there had been expansion. Tea 29 billion, rubber around 6.7 billion, coconut 8 billion, and paddy 25 billion in the agriculture sector. And industry sector, the expansion is around 379 billion. And that comes mainly from the construction sector, and the construction sector expansion was around 222 billion. It's like 25% of the total expansion within these 7 months. And the services sector, it's around 400 billion total expansion, and the mainly comes from wholesale and retail trade, that's around 185 billion. And the tourism sector, there had been a repayment around 10 billion. During these 7 months, and so we have subsectors, and we have published this in our website. It's available, and that's for the 7 months from March to September.
That construction sector, which you said 234, takes into account the government paying off the loans there. They moved 100 billion there. Is that part of it?
So this is a private sector.
I think that's great. I think that information I'll start viewing. If we can get a tenor and the size of the lender, whether it's been lended to the SME sector, whether it's lended to large scale businesses, if that also information can be gathered, it's good information to look at. If that is possible.
Honorable Member, at the moment we collect from the banks sector-wise aggregate figures, not lender-wise.
Yeah, that's where the information that's not there, just a request to see. Because it will be a good analysis to see where the funds are moving, because large conglomerates are also expanding. They are acquiring companies, they are growing big, so they have enough collateral, so it's easy to borrow. The capital is now cheaper. So the smaller guy doesn't have collateral, he has to do lot of things to get access to this capital. That's where we need to probably see where this funding is moving to. And also banks are very reluctant to give more than 5 years or 6 years. So that is not supporting the long-term growth.
On the members' question, sorry. Yes, Dr. Chandra.
In response to what Honorable Minister said, I think in addition to the figures given, I think there is a separate SME survey as well, and there I think we look at the size of the loans as well. That information can also be provided. I think in the report to COPEF we will provide that.
What's the definition of a SME? Below what level do you take as SME? Is it the trading value, balance sheet value?
No, 250.
Sorry? Less than $1 billion.
I had a sort of follow-up on honorable member's question. The tenor, I mean, do you have a weighted average tenor on each of these things? Or? No, the length. Maturity. I mean, I would think, you know, the certain types of loans will have, like the member asked earlier, you know, is this for capital purposes? I mean, trading purposes, obviously short tenor, quick turnaround loans, as opposed to whether they are going into actual investment. How would you know that?
We do. I think exactly. So
Mr. Fonseca?
The total portfolio, when you take the total loan portfolio maturity profile we have, but the maturity profile within SMEs and economic sectors, I don't think we collect that information in that form at the moment.
Yeah, I think the question really is because we are post-crisis. You know, where is the money going? You know, is it going towards more productive purposes or is it going towards purchasing cars? I mean, essentially that it is what it boils down to.
Yeah, I think if I may have a view on that, in a recovery process, usually recovery starts with the consumption picking up. That's how, without consumption picking up, there is no production taking place. People won't invest in the production unless they see the consumption picking up. That's how usually in the recovery, at the early stage, consumption will have to go up. That's why this pawning, agriculture, all these things are going, and motor vehicles also maybe partly consumption. That will convert into with high demand. That then there's an incentive for the production processes to increase supply through the investment. That's the second phase of recovery usually. I don't think we can expect in the recovery investment taking place at the beginning. There's a sequence, and then consumption taking place later. That wouldn't happen usually.
Yeah, but then just to add to that, you know, you got to look at the context, no? I mean, the marginal propensity to import in our consumption basket is pretty high. So, I mean, you borrow and you import a car, most of it goes to a investment or a industry overseas. So while theoretically it is true, consumption has to lead and then investment will have to follow, the context also matters. So I guess if you can do some data analysis, perhaps you can see better whether, you know, where the money is going is in the right direction.
I think for that we can look at the import of, we have a category clearly consumption, intermediate and the investment goods. So that's where if you look at the motor vehicles, personal vehicles are classified as a consumption category. So tourism, commercial vehicles are under the investment category. The intermediate are raw material imports. That's where we can look at, have some idea of where are the demand coming from, which categories.
Okay,
Mainly investment and intermediate goods are usually picking up in terms of imports.
Chairman,
Just Dr. Chandranath, you had wanted to say something.
Wanted to add to what Governor said. So essentially, Honorable Chair, even though we say personal loans and advances, I mean, if a person buys a motor vehicle, it does not say that that will be used for only for consumption, because the economy is evolving and becoming more complex. I think, I mean, Uber and PickMe and, so many other productive activities could happen even through personal, the increase in personal loans and advances. And if you take pawning, it may be for agricultural purposes. So we don't go into that deep, but simply because personal loans and advances are growing, it does not mean that it's less productive than providing credit to others.
Doctor, did you say that the pawning goes into agriculture? So what type of interest
No,
does that type
that's
of pawning
that's
gain?
a trend historically. When there is the harvest season and the cultivation season, usually people go and mortgage this jewelry and take that money, and end of the season they settle that. That's a short-term
Now,
cycle. That has been happening all the time.
does it deem fit for the central bank to feel, my question, the origin was this, where the movement of the funds have been? Is it into capital? Is it into consumption? Is it into paying off loans? Now that is very vital. Didn't the central bank deem fit that this was a necessary way of looking at the trend analysis in the spend?
Yeah, that is what exactly this additional director explained, the sector-wise where
Yeah, so
money
in
goes.
that case, why didn't you feel deem fit to give us that type of breakup? You are still
No,
groping
that's
in the dark
available.
as
That's
to
why
how
we
to
can give
respond
that.
to my
There's
question.
no question about that.
Yeah.
That's why it was provided, because
Yeah,
it was
so
not in the
that-
presentation.
No,
but
no,
data
I-
is published monthly.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of the answers to Honorable Ravi Karnanaka's question were contained in that
No,
answer.
contained, but that should have been a specific thing here to say from 11% to 22% grew in the areas of X, Y, and Z. Because if you look at there has been $1.8 billion of trillion dollars of LCs open for vehicles. Of that, it's seen here that 1.16 is on leasing and performance on the vehicles that is there. Balance 237 billion on pawning. So you could see where the trend is. And in that case, I mean, pawning, if it goes to agriculture, well and good, but I don't know whether they make such amount of money in that sustainable, agriculture at this moment.
One other pawning is almost double. The value of the loan size is also high now, compared to what was in the past.
That's true.
But that gold rush was only 2 months, so it went up to 325, came to 235. The lower lending was always in the range of about 210. So that is only a last 6 weeks.
The gold prices, pawning loans maximum tenure is 12 months. So the
Is?
12 months is pawning is maximum 12 months usual banks.
Yeah.
They don't lend more than that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, there are a lot of anecdotes here, Dr. Chandranath. I mean, central banks usually move beyond anecdotes. So let us actually take this conversation into your research unit and get some people to really sit down and, disaggregate these numbers. And why don't you present us a paper on the kind of questions that the honorable members are asking. And these are very relevant. So let's take it beyond anecdotes. Let's
Now, being
do
on
some
this
proper analytics with some serious, robust number crunching. Yeah.
Chairman, being on this subject on what Minister Chaturanga asked, now the banks seem to be posting some very healthy returns. Now that would also mean that owing to the fact that there was no write-offs of the bank on certain things.
Remember, that is the next section.
Okay.
That's the next section. So if we can finish up, Doctor. No.
During first 9 months, the external sector current account has recorded a surplus of 1.9 billion, and the gross official reserves as of end of September stood at 6.2 billion, and the net international reserves stood at 3.4 billion US dollars. The currency has depreciated by 3.9% thus far during the year. And the central bank has purchased around 1.5 billion from the domestic forex market to build reserves.
Yeah, I have a question on the, if I may?
Yeah.
I have a question